Good afternoon, Guardians. It is Ebontis here, and we continue down a bit of nostalgia here with the Destiny 1 campaign story missions, going through kind of my top ones. Went through all of vanilla. You'll see my link, a link up to that one here. And then we're going on to the expansions next. So you can start with the first one, my top 5 missions for vanilla Destiny. Now we're going to break down some of the expansions and pick a few chosen missions from there that I kind of enjoyed the most. First, we are going to start with the Dark Below. We had 3 missions to choose from, so I am going to pick one. Missions we had the options for were first the Fist of Crota. You face the Fist of Crota. Basically, it's in where the Fallen Saber Strike is. You go in the back there and you fight that enemy down below. You have the weight, which is the first time you kind of had one of those effects, which was kind of cool. But again, nothing too crazy there. Then we had Siege of the Warmind, which I really did enjoy this mission. I like the aesthetics of the Warmind. It was a cool texture palette and all those types of things in there. But really, we got to go with the third one. There's no question. You got to go with the Wakening. Of course, I got to find it. Go to the Temple of Crota and destroy Crota's soul. So, a little overpowered this time going through it. It is on easy mode, but we are going to go in here and wreck some faces. Of course, continuing with my Titan on this one. But the Wakening, my favorite mission from the Dark Below. There's only 3 to pick from, but this definitely wins out. So, let's show a few highlights from that one, and we will move on to House of Wolves. But here is the Wakening, and here we go. Alright, Guardians, now we get to the fun parts. We are in the Chamber of Night. And Crota starts talking to you, too. You got these little specks in the air.
Stop them.
And this whole fun part. So, as we continue to work our way forward, you've got these things on the ground, which were new. All these little, basically little like green things that if you stand on them, they hurt. They won't kill you, like, instantly. But they definitely sting. So you gotta watch your footing, watch where you're running around to, watch the enemies, especially as nights charge up. You gotta be careful. You don't back up into one or vice versa. So sticking with these side areas always seem to be a little more practical. Well, Firefly is rather effective now that I've got it. I'm gonna miss this gun. Don't worry, guys. I will do my top guns, legendaries and exotics. I'll probably break them apart. I'll have to figure out which legendaries, but we shall see. But as you work through, again, he keeps yelling at you, and then you're just gonna have this wave. So many enemies that come at you here. Now, as a warlock, we didn't even have like scatter grenades at that point, or if we did, they definitely didn't seem as powerful. But that thermite grenade, the waves for PvP, still one of the best things for a Titan. So, gonna be kind of hard to go back otherwise. And this is the one where you could keep pushing, but again, if you got too aggressive on this one, you run into things like these knights charging up. There were always trouble. You got these guys in the back, and then as we all remember, as you push through, then the fun part starts happening. Start pushing up a little more. You couldn't punch all of these guys before, it had nothing that strong. And this sword dude starts chasing you. Gotta be a little cautious, and then things really tend to escalate. So you got a lot of Thrall, which, you know, Firefly does well on those, but then things really get rough. You get down to the end tunnel, you're like, oh crap. Now I can pop him in the head a few times, but he only even takes me a few shots. His health bar is kind of obscure. But 3 headshots will definitely take care of him. Now, again, overpowered, but at the time, I remember this definitely being a bit of a struggle. Because once you get in here, you're like, right, the world is shaking.
They're waking him.
So you can actually see Crota in there, in the shell. You can see the wizards in the back. And after a while, you are going to get pushed forward. You really don't have much of a choice. So, time to piss the world off. Now, the wizards are occupied, so they're trying to actually wake Crota. And again, normally you do not have anything remotely this powerful. And you've got a couple options here. You could do rockets, and you'd piss off some at a time. They have their shields. But again, if you're going to go have some fun, which is what we're doing, we're going to try and kill this one as fast as we can. Notice I'm even taking some damage there. And these guys are rough. There's 4 wizards in a room. Relatively open, you have some cover, but you definitely had to manage the cover in this room. All the bones and things like that, figuring out where the wizards are. All of that stuff's happening. Then you find one across the way, and more enemies start coming charging at you. Like this wizard over here, all of a sudden a problem. Now we're going to go see if I can actually do some damage here. Ow. First throw start to get in the mix, I'm gonna die, and I'm actually OP right now, so you can see the struggles were real on this mission, for sure. Looking for the first draw. And again, you'd be dealing with some minis, but then you're like, where the hell's the last guy? And there's still the wizard out here that you don't want to get too close to. And while I can drop his shield, you can hear more enemies are going to start charging in. Now, I've killed all 4 of the wizards, so I'm going to start to have some brawl coming in. I do have some grenades, at least at my...
Destroy it.
Hey, you want to destroy the crystal? That's fine. Good luck, though. Because you're not alone. You're not even remotely alone. We're going to have some knights out there, and then as things get even more hectic, acolytes coming in. There's usually an ogre that comes in somewhere right around now, once you do enough damage to the crystal itself. And again, I can get a lot, but that's a lot of damage to put into this thing. And as you get more, you get some bigger enemies coming in, still having to defend yourself. Usually if you're going through the campaign, you're even fighting yourself right now. Still trying to pump as much damage into this thing as you can. You see it kind of escalating down. More curse draw. Major problem. Got to keep your audio cues up for those. Just a war. The amount of enemies you got to fight in here. It just kept going. You're like, oh. And if you died, you had to start the whole thing over. It absolutely sucked. So we're going to finish this thing off in style. Because that's the way you do it. Now that crystal is down. And that's it. But definitely a crazy mission when you dealt with it at the time.
You have given me the gift of vengeance. I thank you. And even if they don't yet know it, the city thanks you.
And Era started to get a little more into the campaign in this one as well, so it was kind of a cool mission. But still, one of my of the 3, definitely has to be my top favorite for this final fight. Just the aesthetic in the room as well. You just have this, like, basically bone tomb chamber. You have Crota's Krista in the middle. You actually see Crota, who you're going to see in the raid, which only really get glimpses from now and then. But honestly, a really cool area, the ritual site, just kind of an awesome thing. So, while the Dark Below was not the best campaign in the world, I did enjoy this mission, so definitely had to get a little nostalgia run through it for you guys. So on to the next one. Here we go. Alright, Guardians, so for Expansion 2, we had the House of Wolves. Now, we had a couple missions to pick between, a couple on Earth, the Silent Fang and the Ruling House, and about 3 on Venus, your kind of introduction to Skolas, and then the ending mission. We have 5 missions. I could pick a couple, but honestly, the one that wins the day, without a question, is really going to be the Queen's Ransom. It has the full Venus jumping puzzle. You go up. It's kind of one of the best missions, and the fact that you actually get to finish off and actually go after, you know, a final boss in a campaign. So, we're going to go ahead and jump in here to Queen's Ransom. So, top mission, without a doubt, for House of Wolves. Kicking it off, Queen's Ransom. Here we go. Alright, Guardians, so once you get back here, in the back of the Citadel, for one, I always noticed the shadow behind me. It was always just cool, the lighting effects that you actually dramatically noticed. But also you notice you have to climb up in the tower, and if you've ever explored back here, you're like, okay, I can only go so high, so what the hell? Again, your shadow, always just kind of fun lighting effects. Back to the juncture. Now you're back here, working on fighting everything. You got Vex, pretty much fighting everything. Fallen in here, a little bit of it all. And respawn restricted, I'm in my mission zone. As you come back here, this is where things change. Got a little bit of difference here. You got Vex, like, kind of getting in the way, maybe. I don't know if they really can decide what they're trying to do.
Strong gravity distortion at your location.
And then now that thing is on. The world has changed just a little bit. So now we've got Vex. Well, we all know Skolas is like the main focus of this, and now here comes Fallen. So you're like, what pairing is going on between, you know, the Kell of Kells and the Fallen and all of that stuff? So, kind of an interesting time. Again, Vectron, the Spire Lord, I guess he got some help so he could get up to the top. Yeah, normally not that easy to kill him with a primary. Really, I can feel a Hobgoblin on my side. Where is the sniper? Where's that Vandal? Yep, Vandal. What's up, dude? Burn away. And then we've got him. Gotta love good old arc weapons on the proper shields. Yeah, it was nice to drop their shields quicker, but I really like the idea that when you drop their shield with the proper energy type, You actually get that explosion now in Destiny 2. That's going to be a really cool effect. And those guys are going to be a hell of a lot harder to kill, too. And here's the fun part. You're like, okay, how do I go up? That dude just really was trying to ruin my day. You're like, okay, maybe just hop. Nope, can't go in. Now it tells you to override the controls. Had to kill the last dude. Of course, deploying your ghost, that was continuing through all the ways through. I also wonder how much your ghosting is going to be involved in Destiny 2. Not that big of a factor. It'd be great if he scanned quicker. Like, he doesn't need the 20-second animation to do his thing. Well, in case you're wondering, yeah, we're going up.
I was
all the way up.
Judgment Scribe. I stood with Skolas for much of Reef Wars. Now, I stand with you in Judgment of Wolfkill. That feels right somehow.
And now, for the first time, we get to the top of this area we had never, ever been to.
Skolas's catch. This is it, Guardian.
For one, just the scale. Like, for being up here this high, we played Vault of Glass, so we've seen the, like, kind of jumping puzzle aspect before, and this one's not as bad, because you got a little more leeway time. But the fact that they put his ship up there, the whole damn thing, in the sky, freaking awesome. But yeah, to the jumping puzzle, I gotta get moving, otherwise I'm gonna lose this one, so let's keep going. And you had to literally, like, okay, which way's next? It's not really too bad if you just literally wait to get to the next platform. It wasn't the hardest puzzle in the world, honestly, but it was just the fact that it was the cool little bit of platforming in Destiny. We all love our Mario platforming, hard to argue. Came back here later and taken, but again, this was the first time we've been up here,
These
and it's
machines
just really
fade
awesome.
in and out of our timeline. Watch your step.
Yeah, watch your step
You're
indeed.
getting close. The crows and I are inbound.
And if you push forward, you could almost go a little too far. Now here, I don't know if it's going to let me, but I know you can on the Taken mission.
There are dozens of new
Get
vault
up.
signatures.
Always fun up here.
And the number keeps
And
growing.
then from here, all the
It's
fun
the
begins.
Vex tech. Skolas. He's pulling the entire House of Wolves through time.
That doesn't sound great, does it? But at least you have an idea what's going on. Of course they're immune, why wouldn't they be? Well, we'll go ahead and push forward here. Probably going to try to get smashed a little bit by Skolas if I try and hit him with a sword, but we're going to do it anyway because I want to have some fun. Push on up, we got some drag going on here, a couple Vandals. Vandals never that bad, it's always the captains that got me worried. And again, I'm sure they're going to do the same thing in Destiny 2. Always have to be a little bit of a pain in my butt. Until I have a giant sword. Well, that was overkill. Where's this captain? Running all the way back here. It was nice just to be able to wreck one of those guys pretty much in one shot. Now the fun part. Now this usually took a lot longer because there was a lot more guys to kill. But again, just reiterating, my power level is way too high for an easy mission. Now when you come up here, you get closer. These guys you can start shooting. But you can't. The Wolf Eye Servitors. So House Wolf. And you pretty much have to press up to activate them. So they're going to sit there and shoot until you come get close. And then the world goes downhill from there. When Skolas shows up, it's just not a good day. And there's Ugly and his giant Scorch Cannon. Now, I can take him out pretty quick, but this fight was definitely a lot harder, a lot of enemies around, so before I completely wreck him, and even had these portals, like if you actually took care of these, less enemies would spawn, so you're trying to manage these portals so you could have less enemies on top of you. Skolas is around, he's not a good thing to have on top of you. Keep running around, trying to take these guys out. Servitors were always a problem because the servitors are just always a pain in the butt. These are actually the pilot servitors. Are they actually? Because they look like the ones in the high servitors. They look like the pilot servitors. Well, that's not great because Skolas literally teleported on top of me. Even in this level, you can still take a decent amount of damage. But yeah, the servitors were a bit of a problem. Come back here. Alright, let's finish this thing up just so you guys can see how it's done. And that's a wrap. And here is one of the cooler endings. You're like, okay, here's this prisoner, and he literally gets trapped. Like, he's literally imprisoned. So one of the cooler things, if you can see that giant thing around his neck, basically pulling him down. And there you go.
Too far from its
And here she comes to save the
I
day.
see now that I was wrong. Accept my thanks and the promise of a fitting reward. Petra, bring Skolas to me.
Capture confirmed. I almost feel sorry for Skolas here. Conversations with the Queen can be harsh. Anyway, I'll meet you back at the reef with your reward.
Pretty cool mission. Finished up the campaign trapping Skolas, and you're like, okay, we trapped the bad guy. Well, now what? This was never meant to be the epic giant expansion, but they did add a cool arena mode to it. So while this is the favorite mission of mine, there's more to come. Alright, Guardians, so I picked two missions that were my favorite. Obviously, we had the Wakening, which was cool because you're facing Crota's Crystal, you hear Crota in the background, getting that kind of preemption to the raid. For House of Wolves, we had, you know, the final mission dealing with Skolas and Venus and going through the jumping puzzle, actually facing Skolas. Kind of a mini boss fight, but then you get to see him trapped, taken away by the Queen. Pretty cool stuff. Now, the big piece for the expansion Dark Below was obviously the raid. Now, I'm not going to go into the raid, but you guys know Crota's End, a very quick raid, but very fun and frantic. Not everybody's favorite, because there were some glitches and things like that to it. But for the idea, when you think about the Hive, it was actually pretty reasonably designed, because the Hive are just, you know, animalistic. They are not really, you know, overly intelligent creatures. I mean, the bigger ones have their strategy and things, but you think about Thrall, they just rush. And even just the opening of Crota's End isn't meant to be exactly that. Just kind of crazy, running nuts. But when it comes to House of Wolves, we did not get a raid. We did not get much in the world of endgame, per se. We got something different. So no raid, but they added something new. Over at the Reef, you cannot talk about House of Wolves without discussing the Prison of Elders. Now, Challenge of Elders was a nice escalation to that, but it all started at Prison of Elders. This was your level 28 arena. Coming out of the Dark Below, we were 32 max. So 28 arena to get started, never too bad. Then you had 32, and then as you leveled up through House of Wolves, the level cap was maxed out to 34. Okay, that's not so bad. These are manageable. Still rough, but, you know, manageable. But then they had to crank it up a notch. And the same thing they did with the Dark Below with the raid. They had a level 30 difficulty, and then they had level 33. You were maxed at 32. Same thing here. You were level 34 cap, but the highest thing was 35. They had that artificial difficulty level, as opposed to strategy and things like that. Things could kill you quicker. You couldn't do as much damage. It just slowed everything down. So Skolas, if you guys ever remember, I might try and find a little scene or something like that, but I just don't have any footage. It's been a while. Skolas was a very difficult fight, especially depending on the modifiers, depending on your team. I spent 7 hours in there because you had to go through all 5 phases and face him. There were no checkpoints. That was one of the biggest things. 0 checkpoints on a fight like this, that if you got to the 5th point, you could not go back to, was quite frustrating. That was probably one of the biggest things I wish they would have changed. Some type of checkpoint system. If you made it at least to Skolas, like you made it through, you could make it through the first 5 phases, or 4, however many, not that bad. But if you got to Skolas, maybe at least a checkpoint, so you could go back in there. They didn't want people farming it, and we understand that, you know, there were some ideas behind that. But the Skolas fight was rough. First time I did it, literally in there for 7 hours. Trading people out, getting different runs, waiting for supers to charge, popping heavy ammo synths. All those things happened. It was a brutal one. So definitely had to tip my hat to just the difficulty alone, but Prison of Elders was cool. It was just the arena. Now, the arenas came in later in different aspects in the Patrol and the Dreadnought. We had that one. Challenge of Elders came back here. You had Taken in it. But again, the arena came for the first time in House of Wolves. So definitely had to mention this one. All the different variations that came from it. But Prison of Elders, the good old, and Skolas Revenge as well. Because Skolas was a royal pain in the butt. So had to mention that one. But for this video, I think this is where I'm going to wrap it up, guys. This covers the vanilla expansions. Taken King is a completely separate animal, basically a game changer in a lot of aspects. So for now, these are my top things for the vanilla expansions. We had the Dark Below, the raid, which I'll cover raids probably separately. But we had the Wakening mission, the really cool one to wrap up. Then we had the Queen's Ransom. We actually go finish it off. And then House of Wolves, Prison of Elders, the big thing. But don't forget, there's one more piece of that. Crucible and Elimination/Trials. That all came from the House of Wolves, and that has been one of the biggest competitive pieces that has kept the game going for a very long time. PvE content's there, people still grind at raids, but honestly, the PvP community is some of the stuff that kept this going. So hats off to both sides of it, the PvP and the PvE community, I'm sorry. But Trials/Elimination spawned from the House of Wolves, so while it may not have been the biggest expansions, and these two expansions were, you know, not everybody thought it was enough content or it should have been all together in the game, what these did and just the seeds they planted for what came to come, I think was pretty cool. So Trials, the arena, and the raids, pretty cool stuff in the first two expansions for Vanilla Destiny. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Ebontis, twitch.tv/Ebontis, which I know some people are watching me make these videos live, and of course YouTube. Look up Ebontis there. You guys can subscribe to my channel. Destiny 2 content will be coming as quick as I can make it. I'll be playing as much as I can from launch, possibly trying to raid as well, and just playing as much as I can, exploring. You guys know me, trying to solo stuff as well. So looking forward to all that has come. So follow me there. Hit that subscribe button. If you want notifications when those new videos come out, hit that alert bell right next to that subscribe button and support me wherever you can. So thank you guys very much. Have a good one. I will see you soon.